So, dear participants, let me guide you through the 4 chapters of the white paper. The first chapter deals with the significant contribution of the generic and biosimilar medicines industry. The second chapter covers the opportunities, challenges, and disruptions. The third one, of course, we will present the proposed vision for the generic and biosimilar medicines industry built around 4 pillars. And then at the end, the actions and the support needed to achieve this vision. The chapter of the contribution is a very important one, since we believe that the importance and the impact of this industry is still not fully understood everywhere, despite the fact that it has massively enhanced patient access globally and is therefore a strong contributor to global health outcomes. Without this industry, you cannot serve the healthcare needs of the global population. This has been largely exemplified during the pandemic. The industry is also a key source for healthcare savings, thereby supporting the sustainability of the healthcare systems, and it drives significant economic benefit through employment and macroeconomic impacts like trade. In order to be able to shape the growth of this industry, 6 key tailwinds and opportunities have been identified. The first one, of course, we all know the underlying socioeconomic fundamentals like sustained growth in population across the world, faster growth of the aging population, and chronic diseases and conditions on the rise in all regions of the world. Regarding the innovation pipeline, it is rich, both for small molecules and more complex large molecules. Then we have the biosimilar space. Biosimilar companies have invested a long time, and we are seeing now finally increasing use of biosimilars also outside Europe. Then there is the digital development. There is a strong digital wave accelerated by the pandemic. And then we have the continuous innovation. Generic companies continue to develop so-called value-added medicines, despite the ever-rising bar of what is considered innovation. And then there are new opportunities. Beyond the traditional generics and biosimilars offerings, industry is exploring new opportunities to enhance access to patients, like consumer healthcare, digital therapeutics, and contact development and manufacturing. Regarding the challenges, we have identified 6 key headwinds and disruptions which the industry is facing. The well-known one is the sustained price pressure from regulators and customers. If not managed carefully, this could lead to significant negative impact on availability and access of critical products. Then we have the regulatory hurdles. Regulatory convergence, it's still in its infancy, too much duplications and lack of regulatory harmonization and reliance. There is progress, but when we look, for example, at the regulatory framework for global development for complex generic, it is emerging only very slowly. Then we have, of course, the global supply chain, which was clearly a lot discussed over the past 1.5 years. The pandemic has revealed the sensitivity and the vulnerability of the global manufacturing and supply networks. And with regard to the pipeline, the innovative pipeline, of course, I mentioned before that it's rich, but at the same time, the flip side of it is that there are new modalities and technologies in the innovation pipeline, and that increase the risk profile of investments for the generic and biosimilar medicines industry. Then we have the emerging markets. Well, you could say this is part of the headwinds, the tailwinds, sorry, but nevertheless, the emerging markets continue to be quite challenging. And then we have the commercial models. They are changing and pressure the industry margins. In light of these opposing forces, industry would need to work towards an integrated 2030 vision built around 4 pillars. And let me go through those. The first pillar is expand patient access to high quality and affordable medicines across traditional and emerging modalities. Second pillar, step up to become a confident, well-respected strategic partner to institutions globally. Third pillar, broaden the role to help form end-to-end healthcare ecosystems along the entire continuum of care. And the last pillar, enable sustained economic contribution for economies, healthcare system, and all stakeholders. To help industry to achieve its vision, it should consider to focus on 7 key imperatives. First one is, of course, the supply chain. Companies should consider their supply chain in light of the vulnerabilities highlighted by the pandemic. Then we have the portfolio. Today, 30 to 45% of the products in the pipeline are complex versus less than 20% 5 years ago. A sharp portfolio selection is therefore needed. On the commercial side, a mixture of physical and digital models may become the future norm. With regard to digital, which has already been mentioned several times, it is becoming imperative to embed digital across the entire supply chain. Then again, with regard to the core activities, companies should consider to strike a careful balance between focusing on their core activities and new focus areas such as consumer health and digital therapeutics. In addition, given the increasing complexity of generic and biosimilar development, manufacturing and commercialization, the industry will increasingly shift from doing it all alone to building a network of partnership. And last but not least, the industry should consider agility and new capabilities while welcoming post-pandemic working models. But industry cannot do this alone. It needs strong support from regulators, government and association in key areas to achieve this vision. There is a need for an efficient and consistent regulatory compliance framework, an equitable patent and litigation system fostering innovation while enabling access, open international borders and secure trade flows, and a healthy reward for innovation. So this was the white paper in a nutshell. A more detailed synthesis is available via our website from today onwards, but also you can find it in the invite you received for the webinar. And I'm closing this presentation now, and then I invite the IBGH chair, Surashan Jain and immediate past chair Hannansbull to officially release the 2030 Vision White Paper. Thank you.